Welcome to The After Show, the show where we bring it to you raw and real about your favorite mainstream and reality TV shows and the actors we love or love to hate. And trust me, no topic is off limits. Tonight we'll be talking about sweetie pies. This is a special episode. There's a lot of drama going on at the St. Louis soul food restaurant chain, and we're going to talk all about it. Tonight I'll be talking with one of the guys from the couch, guy number two. Guy number two, introduce yourself to the people.
Hi everybody, I am guy number two, and I'm here to talk to
you. He has a lot to say. So, look, you guys, let's get right into it, shall we? Let's go.
Let's go.
Right, you guys, look, we are here with a special episode of The After Show. Listen, we have been waiting for the return of Sweetie Pies for some time. They came back in November, and listen, it was all that we thought it would be. It was great to see Miss Robbie, the franchise owner. Well, she didn't know she was actually going to be the owner of a franchise. She's a soul food restaurateur, and, she manages the restaurant with her son, Tim Norman. But now it seems like it's growing into a franchise, and I don't think that's what she wanted. There's a lot going on this season. It's good to see everybody back. We had learned about some really sad news about her grandson, Andre, being murdered. And so I was really eager to see them come back and see what was going to happen on the show and have them give us some information about what actually happened with Andre, and they were able to do that. But recently there were some other things that took place that made news, like Miss Robbie suing her son Tim. We're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right now. So let's start this conversation off. Man, there's a lot to talk about. Guy number two, talk to us about this season of Sweetie Pies. Let's talk about the way that they returned and everything we love about it and everything that we saw happening anew this season.
Okay, so let's talk about that. Because we see, Sweetie Pies, we were eagerly anticipating them coming back. But they started off with a very sad note with Andre having passed away. Very sad, fatal shooting. And we saw what Miss Robbie and her family were actually dealing with his death. He was a bright spot on the show, and he will be very, very much so missed. But it brought a lot of the reality to the fact that there's a lot of violence within their city, and they've actually addressed that as well. But on the brighter side of things, we were actually really excited to see that, they're back. Their NoHo location, which is the California location, has taken off. The initial location that looks like the little caboose restaurant. That was great. And we see that that's kind of grown and kind of taken on a life of its own with its own identity. Tim has gone places with that venture, and now he's even gone out as far as opening 2 additional restaurants out in California. So it's a little bit of a bumpy ride because now, fast forward, his mother has filed a $100,000 lawsuit against him, barring him from using the name Sweetie Pies and going forward from that point. That is a little jarring. So now we've got a family in a little bit of a turmoil, trying to stay out of it, trying to stay above the fray, at the same time a little concerned about their jobs and the nature of Miss Robbie's relationship now with her son, Tim Norman, who seems to have gone into the restaurant entrepreneurial business. But again, not his own venture, but this is his mother, her brand, and everything that she stands for, because when you think of Sweetie Pies, you think of Miss Robbie. And Miss Robbie being a little bit of a legend in her own right, having sang with Tina Turner in the past, which is a little exciting to hear. And we like to see the fact that this is a family-owned business. I think that's really, really important. That's one of the things that drew me to the show. Even though it's just soul food, black people, we rally around soul food. We love it, and we love to eat it, tons of it. But watching it on TV and seeing that, it's more than just cornbread and cousins. It's really good. So I'm glad that we're back with them, and we're starting to see how these things are starting to, take place. But then still a little mystified by the fact that, like, wow, I can't believe it's gotten to this point because Tim has now run off into the sunset and opened more restaurants, and Miss Robbie's just not ready for that. So let's see how that goes. I mean, but I definitely am eager to continue watching it.
I am as well. And, when you think about what must have been the initial idea for this show, bringing it to television and certainly to the own family of television programs, I would imagine that this was supposed to be a feel-good show, a show about family, showing that even in this time that family can work hard, they can pray hard, and they can even play hard at times. But as long as they stay together, there's some value there, and it's something that you want to put forth to the public. People can learn from that. And I think people were able to do that as they viewed this show on the first season. Now we're into the fourth season. We've seen some things that go on, some very real things that we are able to, relate to ourselves. This here, with this lawsuit, the mama suing the son, I can't relate to on a, in terms of family. I can't relate to it on that level. On a business level, I can certainly relate to it, and I'm all behind her. There's a lot that we got to talk about with that, but let's jump around a little bit before we get into that. Let's get into some of the happy stuff and all of the stuff that we love about Sweetie Pies. So, look, there's a host of characters within this family that makes up this great programming. And so I just want to call off some of the names here. Charles Crenshaw, Monique, of course, Miss Robbie Montgomery, Danielle, who I'm surprised is still on the show, Janae Wallach, Michelle, Janae Norman, and of course Tim Norman, the second in command, Stefan Prada, Chloe, Jennifer Williams has entered the cast of the new season. And for those of you who are tuned in right now, Jennifer Williams, you will remember her from Basketball Wives. Yeah. And of course Bruce is Tim's right hand man. He's in the cast as well. So guy number 2, let's talk about some of these characters that really round out the show. Let's talk about Charles Crenshaw. Now, Charles is the nephew of Miss Robbie. Okay.
Right. And Charles is a handful and a half and a whole. So Charles is one of those people that, everybody knows a Charles. And what I mean by that is that, he's great to fun. He's fun to be around, and, he seems like he has a little bit of his own personality, which is very individualistic. But, he doesn't really want to work. He really doesn't want to get involved. And it's been fun seeing him actually evolve to the role where he currently is. Because when the show was first introduced, Charles was just kind of like that family member. He was floating around the restaurant,
right,
halfway working, showing up late, doing this, doing that, trying out and experiment with acting. You wanted to be a model, I think, at one point, and even some other little, maybe a singing venture. I don't know. But Charles is all over the map. So like I said, we all know a Charles. But, again, he's now out in NoHo, out in California, working with Tim, working as a manager at the restaurant, and being responsible for a couple of things. So, missing a little bit of his family in St. Louis, but he occasionally goes home, which is a good thing we like to see. And, Charles is just Charles. Charles is always going to be Charles. But it's good to see that we see him having grown over the span of the show. And I really anticipate looking to see, where he goes within the next year, maybe even 2 years.
The funny thing is this. I look at Charles and I see myself in him. And he just reminds me of me when I was younger, not necessarily in his mannerisms, because I don't think I ever behaved like Charles, but, physically we kind of have, facial features alike, especially when I was younger. So when I see him on screen, I'm always amazed. I kind of give him a little bit more attention than I do the others. Just like, almost like I'm looking at myself there a little bit. Of course, I'm from New York, so I had a better haircut than Charles. So, yeah, I agree with We didn't do homegrown haircuts in New York City. You better explain that, get it done right. You hear me? You better get it done proper. And so when you talk, guy number 2, about Charles always Charles. He has been consistent in his behavior, mannerisms, nature,
Absolutely.
and in his lackadaisical attitude as well throughout the seasons. This season, he seems to be a little more mature, and I think that really has to do with the fact that his cousin passed, and I think it forced him to grow up a little bit quicker than he would have liked. I think also being out in L.A. Has done that for him as well, because Tim, I believe, is teaching him a lesson. I'm not going to pay your way. I'm not going to pay your way. I'm going to help you out because I brought you out here, but I'm going to show you how to grow up without telling you to grow up. I'm going to show you. You're going to need to grow up. And I think we can see a little bit of that happening with Charles. Still, I'd like him to be a bit more responsible, especially because it is a family restaurant. So everything that he does is a reflection of that restaurant and that brand. Every single thing, like it or not. You said that you wanted to be on the show and you signed on. Everything that you do is a reflection of the restaurant, the brand, and your aunt. So I'd like to see him grow up a little more, have fun, but be about your business. Be about your business, willing to see him grow. Look, let's talk about someone else, guy number 2, who is equally has shown an equal amount of immaturity as Charles. Probably, matter of fact, I think she passed him in immaturity and needs to do a lot of growing up really quickly. That's Chloe, who also works at the restaurant.
Let's talk about Chloe. Whoa. Well, we got to pump the brakes when it comes to Chloe, because Chloe is that girl that's going to just give you whatever's on the top of her mind. And I do literally mean the top of her mind, because we don't seem to be scratching any further below the surface of what's on the top. So, Chloe is an explosive character. I think she's a pretty girl, but her attitude from time to time, you just want to reach in the TV and shake her and be like, can you please pay attention to what this person is trying to tell you so that you can understand where the direction of the conversation is going to go? She just does not get that. And, of course, that comes with maturity, and we all know in time, we all learn things about ourselves as we get older. And I'm sure 5 years from now, she's going to look back at the show and be like, what in the world was I thinking? I got fired. Because of my mouth. Yeah, and she will. Trust me.
I hope she
all end up having that moment.
Well, I hope when that time comes, she ain't someone sitting around smoking a $35 Newport Lucy after what she did in that time. So that Chloe is a mess.
That was $35. Okay,
but
and
Lucy's going to be
Sprite, and then try to take a BC powder on top of it. We know the same is no problem. So,
and 5 years of Newport's going to be $35. Go ahead. $35 Newport, 5 years.
Yeah, man. Stop smoking if you do, because you're going to be paying $100 for 2 cigarettes. So the thing is with Chloe, again, she just doesn't yet get it. And I want her to win. Don't get me wrong. I absolutely want her to win. She's a young mother. She's away from her daughter. And it looks like she's been away from her daughter for almost more than a year and some change. So I know that in and of itself has got to be a little painful. But she's actually doing this job to better herself. Tim saw something in her and to fly her all the way from St. Louis out to California in order to get her to even go further with the company. She calls them her family. And I know that she hardly considers that. But I don't think she ever considers what's coming out of her mouth when she wants to jump at, the other people in the restaurant, or much less even try to fight people. So Chloe is just one of those characters, again, explosive, but yet maybe might be a gentle giant on the inside. We see her come all the way down to where she's knocking on the door of humility and coming back and saying, Tim, we need to talk, but at the same time, you're like, no, don't take her back. Don't take her back. Don't take her back. So we got to see where Chloe's going.
Absolutely. We know where Chloe's going. Chloe's going to anger management. Hopefully she's going to live that out. Walk that out, Chloe. Walk that thing out. And look, leave the boxing glove, that you wear on your tongue, leave it home. Leave it home.
Right.
Here's the thing that with Chloe, and I think she is, an attractive young lady. She's young. She has a child that she left behind in St. Louis. Okay, I get that. I don't know, just because she went up to California, I don't know that necessarily means that I'm trying to better myself. Yeah, getting out of that surrounding because it didn't seem to offer you a lot of opportunities, yes, that can be a step toward embetterment. However, she took St. Louis with her to California.
Yes, she did.
So, listen, it's like when you move out of a old rundown tenement building and you have this roach infested apartment and there's mice running around and you have this old dirty refrigerator and you have this stink this stove that's just filthy, and then you pack up to move into this upper west side or upper east side apartment in Manhattan, and then you take the stove, the broken refrigerator, the blown out light bulb, the roaches and the mice that were running around, you take them with you. And then you get to the upper east side or west side, so it's your preference, and then you go. And nobody understands why I keep going off like this. No, I understand because you brought all your mess here with you. You didn't leave it behind you. So my advice to Chloe would be to leave the mice, the roaches, blown out light bulb, the refrigerator, the stove, and the boxing glove that you wear on your tongue, leave it home. Ain't nobody trying to fight, Chloe. Cut it out. All of that, ain't nobody going to say nothing to me. It's just, I'm so sick of that angry black woman thing. Just stop it. You don't want to be known as the angry black woman, but you personify it. Every opportunity that you get, she's rolling the neck. Enough. Another thing about Chloe that really, she made a comment this season because Tim had actually had to let her go because she was constantly arguing with the chef and feeling like she was stepping over the chef and the chef was stepping over her. Nobody could say anything to her. She felt like, it's my family, this is my restaurant, and so forth. Here's the thing, Chloe, if you're listening, if you're tuned in, or if this somehow ends up through social media magic landing upon your ears. It's one thing for you to say that this is your family, but are you their family? And what I mean by that is this. What we've seen of Miss Robbie and Tim and Charles and Janae and Monique and those sisters and those other cousins and even Andre when he was on this show, God bless and rest his soul, they have their issues, they have conversations, and that's it. We have never seen them argue with each other. We have never seen them raise their voices at each other, ever. That's because that's their family. That's how they operate in their family. When you decided to inject yourself into their family, or you thought you were being welcomed into their family, that's all well and good. But you came in wanting to bring your family dynamic, your family style into their family, and that's not how they operate. So when you say, this is my family, this is my restaurant, it's like putting a square in a circle. They know it. We know it. We see it. And we just need you to get it. So hopefully when you get to anger management somewhere, they'll teach you how to play with blocks, and they'll teach you colors and shapes and sizes, and you'll learn the fit of things. Yeah. And then maybe you can call yourself their family. So let's go on and talk, guy number 2. Let's talk about that beautiful cousin of Charles and Tim, Miss Robbie's niece, Monique. Let's talk about Monique.
Monique. I love Monique. Monique is everything that the show needs. Monique gives you that balance in the show, and, she's just really looking out for her aunt and everything that the family represents. She gives you that sound logic when she's talking to her mother, she's talking to her aunt. Her being friends with Janae really helps too, because I love seeing their friendship and how it unfolds on the show. So, kudos to Monique. She's doing great. She's doing great. I love her on the show.
I love her too. I think she's really, really pretty. Initially, you remember when we started watching the show, I said, she's striking. And she's gone through almost not a transformation, but it looks almost like a transformation because she dyed her hair and she changed the style of her hair. I think she's very, very pretty. She speaks well, and she's just nice to look at on screen. You know what I mean? And she doesn't personify a negative stereotype when it comes to black women. So I love that about her. Love seeing her. Would like to see her more. And she's always so lighthearted. I remember one season she had an issue with someone that was picking on her daughter in school. Some girls. Clearly, they were jealous of this young lady because the family was on television, you know, and you know how we get.
Yeah. Hands down.
She thinks she cute because her family on TV. She thinks I want to fight her. You know, ridiculous.
Really?
And I felt bad for Monique because she was bothered that her daughter was bothered. And, you know, needing to have to go up there and handle the situation. And still the kids were still, when she even went up there, the kids were still kind of, you know, her daughter was still having a problem. And it was weighing on her. I said, now, you know, if I was in St. Louis, I'd have went up there with you. We'd have solved that problem quick, fast, and in a hurry.
Absolutely. Shut it down.
Yeah. Before the cornbread got brown, we'd have had that done. We would have had that done. Okay, so Monique, if you ever have a problem again, call the after show. Yeah, I'll come out there and handle that for you and fly on back to New York City with some of that cornbread and some of that good old fried chicken. Yeah. All right, so look, let's talk about, because you brought up someone else who I absolutely love seeing on the show, and that's Janae Norman. Now, Janae is Tim's baby's mama.
She's the baby mama.
That's Tim's baby mama. So, talk to us about Janae, because I thought that was interesting for them to even, you know, have the baby mama on the show.
It is interesting, but you know, Janae is literally like Miss Robbie's daughter, and I love that because they have a very genuine, very open, and a very honest relationship. You know, you can see that Miss Robbie totally respects her, reveres her as even being her own daughter, despite the fact that she and Tim are no longer together.
Right.
And I don't think she's just doing that as a grandmother and just trying to be, like, gracious to Janae. I think she honestly and genuinely loves Janae, and Janae mutually, genuinely and honestly loves and respects Miss Robbie.
Right.
But, you know, even Janae now, we've seen her character develop. We've seen her with Tim. We now see her without Tim, and we now see her engaged. And, you know, we've even been there when she was pregnant and she had the baby. And, you know, we've really grown with Janae on the show. We've even seen Janae start her business, you know, and trying to make some great decisions and some very hard decisions as well. Because, you know, Janae has had to deal with a lot of Tim's growing pains, if you will. Because, you know, I could tell at one point she was just genuinely in love with Tim. She was all ready for them to get married and, you know, settle down and do things, and, you know, just her and TJ and Tim against the world. But as that started to break apart and fall into pieces, we saw Janae literally also fall to pieces. And even, you know, when she broke down, she had her heart-to-heart with Miss Robbie, and we were able to be privy to that. And that was something that we genuinely felt, you know, when we saw her. But, again, you know, Janae is great friends with Monique, and I love seeing their friendship because it's a genuine relationship. You know, she's not just a cousin by relation. She is actually like almost sister to her. So, you know, Janae is just a great character. I know that Janae is going to have a great future. She's beautiful, and she's just got a great, promising road ahead of her. So I want to continue to see Janae.
I want to continue to see Janae, too. I agree with everything that you said about her. She's beautiful. She's classy. And, again, she doesn't personify that negative stereotype that we see so often on reality TV shows and in life in general. Women just acting out, even when they're not wrong, even when they have cause. We saw some things, the things that were presented to us, I wasn't sided with Tim about at all when it came to Janae and him spending time with TJ, you know, a few seasons back, or the lack of time that he was spending a few seasons back. And that whole thing with the, you know, potential wedding and not married and all this stuff that took place. I love the way she carried herself. She remained classy. Again, we never saw her yell and scream and act out. And the relationship that she has with Miss Robbie, the way that it's presented to us at least, is beautiful. Is absolutely beautiful. You see that there's not only a love, but a mutual respect and an admiration for each other. And I love that about her. And yes, we do see her with a new guy. I'd like to learn more about this new guy. I don't know if that's going to be possible for the show, but I really would like to see a little more about this new guy and see what's going to happen with that. Hopefully she'll get pregnant, and then that means we'll have to see more of her and more of him, and then, little TJ will have a brother or sister, so that would just, push them right into, some more scenes or whatever.
Great.
I would love to see it. Yeah, and, if you're listening, Janae and Monique, they should get together and do some type of relationship show or seminars. I think that Janae would be a great person to do relationship seminars based on how to, almost like a living guide, if you will, a living guide to navigating relationships with your baby daddy. Because you can do it successfully, and so many women aren't doing that successfully. When the man is acting out, when things are going on, they're yelling, they're screaming, they're running the court, and it's just crazy. The family is bought into it. The mama don't like him no more. His mama don't like you, and it's a bunch of stuff. But they navigated that very well. And so kudos to Janae. And, again, I think she should end up doing some type of, or think about doing some type of live seminars where she goes around the country and speak to women, young women, these 20, 22, 23, 24-year-old women that have baby daddies, these 25, 26, 27-year-old women who have baby daddies and don't know how to navigate that relationship when it gets tumultuous. All right, look, let's move on a little bit and let's talk about some of the other characters on this show, like that Danielle. Mm-hmm.
Wow, Danielle. Why Danielle did not stay in St. Louis, I don't know, but okay. Danielle, there's a lot to say about her, but then there's a lot I don't want to say about it. But let's just stick to the good stuff. So,
well, we said Danielle, we're not going to pull any punches.
Well, Danielle kind of considers herself to be a quote-unquote expert in some areas. In social media, I don't know where she got that degree on being an expert, but it looks like she's trying to take on a little bit more than she can chew. I think even one of the cast members said, you just take pictures and take care of social media. Like, that's no job. But, she comes onto the scene being Tim's assistant, and, we kind of don't have any clarity behind her being an assistant because she's having all the conflicts with all the real assistants that have been hired for the show. So, her relationship comes in really, really rocky, and she's going up against upper management and, just trying to dispute pretty much everything and saying, well, Tim told me. Well, Tim decided to take her on a sleigh ride and slide her on out to California. So now she thinks she's going to get a star on Hollywood Boulevard. Okay, well, if that's what you feel, Danielle, let's go with that. But I don't see that happening. But, so now she's working with Jennifer. And that is hilarious. When I tell you, when that part of the interview, I guess it was an impromptu interview because Tim was actually introducing Danielle to Jennifer for the first time, which previously we see in a scene before, Danielle's presenting this, well laid out plan, quote unquote, for Tim and how he can expand his social media business, So when he introduces Danielle to Jennifer, he introduces her in the capacity of not only being his assistant, but now she can work with, quote unquote, Jennifer on her stuff. And we see Danielle automatically saying, well, I hope she doesn't think I'm going to be her assistant. I'm like, well, are you working? Because I don't even see where you have a real job. Because you're not at the restaurant anymore. So what are you doing? But supposedly she wants to be a professional singer. If she can sing, hey, time will tell. I don't know. But the way it looks, I don't think that's true. So you got to be glad that you're going to be Jennifer's assistant and working as a quote-unquote clothing consultant, which is funny. It was absolutely hilarious for her to actually sit there and say, oh, yeah, I think I have what you need, and I can work on your social stuff. And, when Jennifer was like, oh, well, I can't manage my Snapchat and my Twitter and kind of just do those things that are like, that's what you're going to be doing. Hey, good luck. Put your seatbelt on. That's your new job, Danielle. Hope it works out for you.
I hope it works out for Danielle, too, because Danielle is, you know what Danielle is?
What is she?
I'm going to tell you what Danielle is. Okay. So, and I'm going to talk about someone else in order to tell you who Danielle is. Okay? And so I want you to follow this, if you can follow this. And you guys who are tuned in, around the world, see if you can follow this. I hope this makes sense to you because it makes sense in my head. So, there's a garden. And there's all these wonderful flowers in the garden. And each flower is different. And Miss Robbie being the beautiful white rose. Just beautiful. And there's these other flowers that are blooming in the garden, all rare and beautiful. And she pops up like she's some exotic bird of paradise in the garden. And initially when you see her, because you got all the, the roses and the tulips and the dandelions and so forth, and when you see this bird of paradise spring up out of nowhere, you're like, oh, who's it? Okay. And she's pretty at first glance. You look at her and you're like, oh, well, let's see what you do. The rose gives off a beautiful scent. You know what I mean? And it opens, it blooms, and the petals just, all of the flowers do what they do. The tulips and even the dandelions, they multiply. It's a lot of them, And then that bird of paradise and all of its exoticness, it does nothing. And after a while, you get tired of looking at it. And that's what Danielle is. She does nothing, and I'm tired of looking at her. And that whole social media thing, but really, babies do social media these days. You know what I mean? 3-year-olds. I'm sure little TJ, give him your cell phone and see if he don't get you 10,000 followers on Instagram. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it with you social media guru, social media boo-hoo is what it is. And, she just... And I said I'm going to talk about somebody else. You can get a real picture of what I mean about that flower, that bird of paradise that just does nothing. It's like Chloe, who is like the weed that popped up in the middle of the garden, like, I'm here. Right. All these beautiful flowers and nobody's paying attention to me. I'm here. The people are walking around the garden looking at the flower and the rose and the tulip and the dandelion and the chrysanthemums, the sisters, those are the chrysanthemums, And then that Chloe is like the weed in the garden. I'm here. Why ain't nobody looking at me? And then she start cussing because ain't nobody looking at the weed. See what I'm saying?
They're running to go get the weed spray to get rid of her. Oh.
Right. And initially she had a problem with Danielle because she thought Danielle didn't do nothing. Well, she's right. She did nothing. And then Danielle had a problem with her because she felt like you're loud and you don't do nothing. And they equally don't do anything. Oh. Okay, so anyway, I'm going to move right on along here, and we're going to talk about, because I don't have anything much to say about Danielle, only because, she is another one who became a problem. Initially, she walked in, I was hopeful. She promised more than she could deliver. She, too, had no professionalism, and, that was an issue for me. And I immediately saw that she was just a woman who thought that she was light-skinned with long hair, and she was going to make her way through with that. I don't know why she thought she was going to do that with Tim, because he already had a woman, which was Janae, who was light-skinned with long hair. Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And he's not impressed with light-skinned women, because you look around, the whole family is light-skinned. Oh. All right, so look, let's move on a little bit here and talk about some other people on the show. Let's talk about Michelle, which is the cousin of Tim and Charles and Monique. She is the niece of Miss Robbie. I believe she's his brother's daughter. So let's talk about Michelle, because she's an interesting character on the show.
Yeah, when you talk about flowers in the garden, she's one of the most interesting and definitely stands out. She's an elite one. she's very much so a hard worker. She's dedicated to the business. We see her really kind of jump in and, really, really, really want to be a manager and work for this family business and want it to grow and be positive. But she confused me a little bit prior to Tim doing all his full expansion, because she literally would be like, well, Tim, I want responsibility. I want this. I want that. I want this. I want that. And then when Tim kind of just started throwing stuff at her, she was kind of like, ooh, okay, wait a minute. But she didn't stop. So her perseverance alone actually shows that she is fully dedicated. She is fully vested into the family business. And Tim did take some time to do it, but it was a long time coming. He did actually openly appreciate her on the show, which, of course, she was grateful, and she showed it with tears. So, kudos to her for really jumping in and really wanting to run the restaurant and want to be a part of the business. That's a rare thing. I mean, it's a rare trait these days to even find anybody that's going to be a quarter dedicated to anything. So, we see her, and even though I want you to change that hair, that little beehive hairdo, you got to change that. But anyway, we're not going to delve into that. We're going to talk about what we want to see you going forward. But you got to do something with the beehive. I mean, I know St. Louis has got a couple of hairdressers out there that can help you out with that beehive, that braid, whatever. What is
now? Look, you're not going to talk about Michelle like that, okay? And Michelle's hairstyle. Michelle, this is what I have to say about you, Michelle. I love your hair. You keep that beehive whooped up on your head all you like, from episode to episode and from season to season. And I'm serious about that. I'm going to tell you why, because, other shows that we review, Guy number 2, we review a lot of shows. We discuss a lot of them with Guy number 3 and also with Trinity, who's not here today. And we always have comments about, some of the shows that we see where these women are changing their wigs and weaves every scene. It's ridiculous. It's a mess. One scene, if it's 10 o'clock, she opens the scene, the hair's black. 10:02 is blue. 10:03 is green. By 10:12, she done did 100 hair changes. She done went from yak to cat to rat, mule. And by the time the episode goes off, she got a goat on her head. So my thing is, I'm okay with Michelle's hair and her style and choice of hairstyle. The thing about it is, too, and I think I understand why she wears it braided and up in that updo like that. I think it has a lot to do with the fact that she understands that she's working in food service. And it's easy to put up under a net,
Right.
And,
right.
I know if I go into a restaurant, especially one that's as popular and as highly publicized as Sweetie Pie's, I don't want to find yak hair in my rice and beans. I do not want a blue strand synthetic hair in my collard greens. I'm going to have a problem with it if I do. Baby, I will be on the floor. I will be on the floor acting as though I'm gagging and choking to death on yak hair. So kudos to you. Kudos to you, Michelle, for following the protocol, understanding professionalism, having a professional look, and caring about the customers you serve. So wearing your hair up in the updo, beehive, honeycomb kind of thing with your net on. Make it work. All right, look, let's move on a little bit. Let's move on a little bit here. I want to talk about Bruce. So let's talk about Bruce, because Bruce seems to be the right hand of Tim Norman. So weigh in on Bruce, Guy number 2.
Yeah, Bruce seems to be like the fist of power, or if he's like the muscle, I guess, for Tim. But he really displays a level-headed right-hand man for Tim, and I admire that about him, especially with the fact that, there's been so many changes. There's been a lot of tumultuous behavior with staffing and even within their management ranks. It kind of goes up and down and up and down. And we see, Bruce kind of go a little bit of toe-to-toe with Chef Clark every now and then. But, Bruce resembles that man that's like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do it right because you asked me to do it right. And I like that because it shows the strength not only in the fact that this is a family business, but this is a family business with people that actually care about the business and want it to go a little bit further than just where it is. And Bruce taking that journey out to California with Tim and literally going with him every step of the way and acting not only his right hand, but as his left hand, because he does a whole lot of stuff in Tim's absence. So, kudos to Bruce for jumping in and making it happen. I see him as a very level-headed individual who really loves his job and really has a strong work ethic. So, again, kudos to you, Bruce. I think you're doing a great job, and we're going to see more of you, I know, as the brand expands. So, Tim, keep that man right next to you. Hold on to him. He's a rare find.
You know what? I like Bruce as well. I think his name is Bruce George, and it's funny because I have a buddy by the name of Bruce George who I met years ago. He used to work with Russell Simmons, and when I was invited to do Russell Simmons' Def Poetry Jam, before it actually aired, I was one of the original people that they called back to do that. And things happened, and I just decided not to go that direction. And here's the thing. Bruce, for me, is a joy to see on this show. And one of the reasons why is because he represents the traditional black masculine male. So I'm going to be quiet for a second and let you guys soak that in. Okay, you got it? The traditional black masculine male. A lot of times when these shows are cast these days, they're looking for the guy who is the big idiot, the a-hole, the douchebag, or the femme. Somebody that's going to act out and give you a lot of drama, snap his fingers, roll his neck, and walk off from you. Oh, yeah, and call you a couple of B words. So you're either super macho, dogging out women, dogging out everybody around you, have no care in the world, and you have 10 kids somewhere stuffed away in a closet, or you're ultra feminine. You know what I mean? And Bruce is neither of those. What we see of Bruce is a man who is dedicated and committed to a friend, committed to his business, has a vested interest in seeing the business grow and flourish. And I like to see the way he supports Tim. He doesn't have to know the backstory between what's going on with Tim and Miss Robbie, but he's supporting Tim. So I'm doing as I'm told. As a friend, I'm here for you. As an employee, I'm here for you. As a man, I'm here for you. We need to see more of that. We need to see more people. I'd like to see more men, black men on TV like Bruce. I don't care what Bruce's background was. We all have a background. Bruce, kudos to you. Love to see more of him. And I hear he has like 4 kids, I think, and he's married, I believe, and that kudos. So if your family is listening, Bruce, if they ever get their ears to this, kudos to you guys. You got a great guy. People are watching him, and people are being inspired by him. We want to see more of him. So thank you for sharing Bruce, your dad, your husband, Tim, your friend, Bruce, with us. Yeah, I want to see more of him.
Absolutely.
Can't wait to see him actually run one of those restaurants from top to bottom. Now, look, okay, we talked about Janae. Let's talk about little TJ, and then we're going to talk about Mr. Tim Norman. So let's talk about TJ, because what a cute little thing he is, running around there. I feel like we watched him in her belly. Now he's running around in Disneyland, Disney World. What was it? Where did they go? Disneyland?
They went to Disneyland, yeah. I mean,
running around in Disneyland.
It was great to see. I mean, it was great to see. When TJ popped up on the scene, we did literally see him in Janae's belly, and then, come into birth. And, he was struggling when he first got here. I think he was all of like a little less than 3 pounds. And, had difficulty breathing and had some developmental issues on the onset. And, of course, we were just watching TV, praying for Janae and praying for Tim and, praying for Miss Robbie as well, because we just wanted this little boy to live. And now he is alive. He is definitely running, and he's everywhere. He's your typical 5-year-old now. And we've literally watched him grow up on TV. So I think it's great because, Tim now has his son, his legacy, and Janae has a bright, little boy who really, they look like they're peas in a pod together. She relates with him very well. And I love seeing it. And, I like TJ. I think he's adorable. He's cute.
Yeah, he's adorable. Kids are always adorable on these types of shows, and I love smart children. And he's very smart. You can tell he's very smart. Now, here's the thing that really gets me, because he has a bit of Janae in him, and then a bit of Tim, and you can kind of see both of them play out in him, even at this very young age. And it's funny because even in the promo, the promotional poster that they have, image for the promotion of the show, where they have Janae and Charles, Miss Robbie, and Tim is holding TJ. Little TJ is looking up at his dad and giving him his face like, really? Mm-hmm. He's looking like, are you trying it with Grandma? Are you trying it with Grandma? So,
okay.
I absolutely love little TJ. He's adorable, and just being able to watch him grow. And I knew that I think he was premature, and he was a bit small upon birth, but he's growing and he's doing well, and we see that. And I think that has a lot to do with, one, the power of the living God, and two, the fact that Janae is so hands-on with him. And not just Janae, Tim is hands-on with him as well. And Miss Robbie and everybody shows him so much love, and love can cut through anything, all things.
Absolutely.
It has to submit to love. Yeah. So I think that's what we see with him, and that's why he's growing so wonderfully, and he's just running around like, y'all go ahead and do, act up now, grown folks, because in a couple of years you're going to blink and it's going to be all me.
It absolutely will be. Yeah, he's a handful, but I think he's going to be a great handful.
Yes. Love that. So, look, let's talk about a handful. Mm-hmm. Let's talk about Mr. Tim Norman, who has his hands full of restaurants and ideas and things that he has basically birthed or come up with to expand the brand that is well-loved and known as Sweetie Pies. Sweetie Pies. Talk to me about what you've seen from the initial season and coming forward up into this season with what Tim has done and presented to us as far as the Sweetie Pies brand is concerned.
Mr. Tim Norman, kudos to you for having the vision to go further. However, I think that it's a little too much, too fast, too quick. And what I mean by that specifically is that it's too much, too fast, too quick. I mean, he just literally has taken his mother's brand and, it's kind of exploded on the scene. I think in a beautiful way, because we all can see that Miss Robbie definitely wanted to expand with her now doing her Hamburger Heaven venture and, her actually reopening one of her former stores. So we see that she definitely wanted to expand. I just know that in her mind, she did not want to expand so quickly. But Tim is one of those characters, he gives us his full backstory. We know he's been incarcerated, and we know that he had a rough life prior to even going into prison. So we see him come out. We see that now he's a businessman. We see that he's able to manage the restaurant and the responsibilities, and taking on the whole family value system of the ownership with the restaurant. And I think it's a beautiful thing because we've seen him really go and leaps and bounds. Now, he might have been a little bit of a workaholic, which was one of Janae's complaints, after TJ was born, because he wasn't really there for that. And we see that he actually, I guess, quote unquote, gets it and runs. He just, I want to move to Texas. I want to move to Florida. I want to go here. I want to go there. I want you to go with me. I want you to go with me. Those are all great and intrinsic values to have. But, Tim, my God, you got to slow down. You got to think. You got to plan. You have to do things accordingly. I think that you have a great support system because it seems like people do rally around him and they do want to genuinely work for him. And he seems like he would be a fun and adventurous type of boss to work for. But you got to take a little back seat. You got to just kind of roll it back just a little bit. But one of the aspects about Tim that I enjoyed was seeing when Andre came on to the show. I did not think initially that he and Andre would mesh, and here's why. He kind of allowed Andre to drift a little bit. Like, he kind of checked in with him every now and then or whatever. But, the rubber kind of hit the road eventually, and he saw that, my nephew needs some guidance. So he did jump in voluntarily and kind of surrogated through Charles to try to have a relationship with Andre. And I think that even though we might not have seen it on screen, I think that they ended up with a very firm mutual respect for one another. And, to see uncle and nephew get along, work with each other, and do things, that was something that was beautiful to see. And that kind of gave him the opportunity to be a father to him. And I enjoyed seeing that. Even though we didn't see a whole lot of it, I know that it was impactful for him. And that was something that we needed to see as far as the side of Tim to go further. And to just see him outside of just the restaurant business and seeing him behind the counter and running from store to store. But Tim, I know that you have a very strong work ethic. I mean, it's more than obvious. I think you have a brilliant mindset. And I'm just praying that the right people come into your life and give you what it is that you need so that you can actually take your vision further. But I also want to see you remember that the original seed that was planted came from your mother, and that needs to be honored and respected and taken to literal heart. You need to keep that in the forefront of your mind. I think without her having done what she did, you wouldn't be where you are, which of course I know you recognize, but I really want to see that firmly planted so that it's just not that you took the cake and ran out the back door. But Tim, I think, is going to continue to be successful. We now see he's in a relationship with Jennifer Williams. I'm hoping success with that as well, since you're going into a business venture with her. And, I hope all your dreams and aspirations come true. Looking forward to that.
I'm looking forward to see how this whole thing plays out with Mr. Tim Norman as well. I'm looking forward to it. One of the things that I noticed when we initially were introduced to the Sweetie Pies brand and through this program was really how well Tim appeared to support his mother and how much she was able to rely on him. It's a huge thing in this day and age, because we live in a time where people are becoming more selfish. Certainly children are becoming or have become, so filled with this spirit of entitlement. Give it to me and I don't want to do nothing for it. I don't want to do anything for it. Just give it to me. I don't want to work. And, it has long since been a big thing with families who run businesses and trying to get the kids involved that the kids kind of rebel. They don't want to do the right thing. They want to slack off and so forth. So that's a hard thing to do. But she was able to do that. She managed to do that with Tim, and they managed to work well together. Sometimes as we grow and as our associations change, and, as we age, our desires change and our needs and wants change. And depending on the people that are around you during that change and who you share that information with, they can get in your ear a little bit. And then your aspirations become bigger than even the aspirations you initially had before you shared them. Yeah. So, you understand what I'm saying? You kind of get what I'm saying. You start seeing people pop into the restaurant as it becomes more popular. It's on television, and people pop in, and they're millionaires, and they're living a lifestyle. They're living a certain way, and then they sort of call themselves your friend, loosely. And then they kind of put ideas into your head that you should be bigger, you should be doing more, and, you're down with us, you need to roll like this. I'm not saying that that's what Tim went through, but it happens. It happens. I understand that he wants and he has ideas and, about expanding the brand. Clearly, he was able to broker some deals for her when it came to the book deal, when it came to expanding with the sweet tea brand and so forth. Great. Love that. I expect you to be of value and of an asset to me, even though you are my son. Yes, even as my son. Be of an asset. Let's talk about doing some things, but as long as we sit down at the table and you share your ideas with me first, you see what I'm saying?
Right.
Then I'm cool. I may say no today. I may say no for the next 3 years. Keep bringing the idea to me. But when you start going out behind my back, then I have an issue. When you start going out and doing things when I've clearly said no or slow down or yield for a moment and you continue to do it, then I have an even bigger issue. Now, I will not pretend to know the dynamic and workings of this family when it comes to their business and what Tim and Ms. Robbie discusses behind closed doors or when those cameras aren't on. I won't pretend to know that. What I do know is that anyone who has a business, because I have multiple, when you start it, it is your vision. It is your idea. The seed has been planted in you, and you know exactly where it's supposed to go. If she's anything like me, I see it from the time it is given to me from the Lord God. By the time he gives it to me, I see where it is and where it's supposed to be in the end. Right, so all of the stuff that he's doing in between that she's not privy to, of course she's going to be bothered by that. Where are you going? Because this is in the vision.
Exactly.
So it's never that expansion is in the vision, because she might see expansion down the line. But you all the way off to the left and you all the way off to the right. You don't went around the corner. You on Pluto and Mars, and now Pluto ain't even a planet no more, so something's going on and I got to intervene. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a little bit too much stuff going on. And I think he's going faster than she can handle or have a comfort level for.
Right.
And if she was younger, it might be a little different because they might be thinking the same way. She's from a different era. And he's rushing, putting all of this stuff. Give her time to catch up. And it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. There's a lawsuit pending, against him for saying that he can't use the name Sweetie Pies anymore, and all of these other ventures that he's opening up, like a live entertainment brand and helping people to brand themselves and expand their brands. I don't know that working to expand a personal brand, which is a family brand that she had already really gotten on to Oprah Network and got millions of views for, I don't know, because you brokered a book deal and you brokered a tea licensing deal and stuff like that. I don't know that you necessarily have what it takes to take other people's brands to that level. And the reason I say that is this. I'm not undermining him, because I believe we could do all things are possible through Christ who strengthens us. But, beyond that, the reason that these things were easy or appeared to be easy is because they already had a platform.
Right.
She had a consumer base, a large consumer base, and she had a hit TV show on Oprah's network. So Oprah is like the Midas touch. She touched it and boom. So the book agent and the people who are doing the tea and everybody who wants to do the T-shirt, they're all like, ooh, Oprah, it's on Oprah. It has an audience already. We don't have to do much promotion. We don't have to promote this book really, because it's already promoted. Everybody see it. Millions of people see it. We don't have to spend a bunch of money. So when you work with other people whose brands aren't as exposed, you're going to have a hard time. So we'll see, because I kind of come from that background and doing stuff like that. So we'll just see what happens. I do wish them the best. I think Tim is smart, and one of the things I like about Tim is that he's fearless.
Absolutely, he's fearless. Absolutely,
he's fearless. But if you can channel that fearlessness with preparedness and with sharing with your mom, you guys will be unstoppable. And it is my prayer and my hope, if you're listening, Tim Norman, that no one gets in and takes any part of that brand or those businesses from you guys, or cause you to lose businesses, have to close businesses, or lose money. So I'm praying for that for you guys. I don't want that to happen. And there are some sharks dressed up in some designer suits waiting to prey on you. Okay? Prey. All right, so look, let's move on a little bit. Before we talk about Miss Robbie, well, let's talk about Miss Robbie, then we'll jump around to a few other people on the show just for some lighthearted humor. Okay. Let's talk about that incredible, feisty, fiery matriarch, Ms. Robbie Montgomery. Let's talk about her. You weigh in on Miss Robbie, guy number two.
Robbie Montgomery is definitely the boss. She's the matronly boss. She's the business boss. She's the boss. She wears multiple hats. And, she's the glue of her family, being the oldest, I believe, of 9. She really loves her family, and it is the root and heart and soul of all of her existence. And, she even says as much as, the fact that I opened this business because I wanted something for my family. So that in and of itself alone just gives me a very good feeling, not only about her just as a person, but just it shows you the level of integrity that she works with. It shows you that she has a strong work ethic, and she has a very strong belief in what it is that she's doing. And she knows that God orders her footsteps in everything that she does. So she doesn't move very swiftly because we, heard her even say, I was here 10 years before I decided to even open the second location. And then we did that for another 10 years. So, she might not be moving in, a fast-paced, racetrack type of environment that we would want her to move in. But she's doing it right. She's doing it to the point, not of necessarily perfection, but she's getting it to a point where she knows that it works. This is the formula that works for the family business, and she wants to do it right so that it will have a sense of longevity. And I have to honor that. I think that, especially as a business owner, she knows what she's doing. She's worked with the same accountant for several years, Mr. Bussey, and, she's worked with her sisters, and, she's worked with her nieces and nephews, and she's hired some people that were in desperate need of a job, and they have worked for her for years. They dedicated themselves to her. So it speaks volumes of who she is, not only as a business person, but as a woman. And, I know that she's got a very, great historic background, which we haven't really delved into. Yeah, we've heard that she sang with Tina Turner, and, she was an Icette and those things. We've even seen a couple of her friends come in on the show that are from her past, which is great to see. So it shows that, she has a normal life outside of her restaurant, which she should. She should have that enjoyability of life. She's lived. She does not look her age, which just floors me. I'm amazed by her sense of self. She moves. She's got a very spry attitude. She's very hip. She's youthful, and she's just full of life. I love that about her, and I love how she loves her family. And I just think that she's a wonderful woman. I mean, she's doing great. And, we've seen her be honored by a couple of colleges. We've seen her actually go to cooking schools, and we've seen her giving classes in the mall and all those other things. And she just has a very beautiful perspective on life, and I really honor that about her. I really, really, really do. I think she's a great person.
Look, what can we say about Ms. Robbie? What can we say about her? She is soul food. She's soul food. She's everything that is soulful. So she's sweet like candy yams. You know what I mean? She's all the rave like macaroni and cheese. Right? That 3 cheese, 4 cheese, 5 cheese, macaroni and cheese. She's soul food. She's, and necessary like collard greens. Yeah, like collard greens. And when we don't see her, when they're not on, when their season is over and we have to wait another 6 months or so for a season, yeah, we miss her like cornbread. And with the cornbread, okay.
Right. You didn't make the cornbread?
You didn't make cornbread with the cornbread. So we love Miss Robbie. We want to see Miss Robbie. She's feisty and she's strong and she is spry and she's moving about and letting people know I am here and I got a lot more to do. And I'm going to do it with or without you. So I love that about her. I love the fact that she has been bestowed the gift of people loving. She loves people. You have to love people to own a restaurant and serve them.
Hands down.
It is a gift to be of a help. So people need to know that too. Like, she's not just doing it because, I wanted to create a place that my son could have to work and, a family business. That's a big part of it. But she had to have a heart for help. That's what God saw, not just the fact that you wanted to feed your son and have a business or resources for your son, because God says, I'm the provider. You don't have to worry about tomorrow. You don't have to worry about whether your son will eat, because I'll feed him. What he saw in her, I believe, you guys, is that he saw that she had a heart for help. That's why Tim was able to come to her and say, hey, Mom, what about this guy that I was in prison with, and he's getting out, he's a great guy, and he's not going to have an opportunity either. Can we give him a job? And she said, okay. See what I'm saying? Because she could have, like so many other parents out there, she could have said, oh, no. Now, you my son, I got you up in here. But you ain't bringing none of them people up in here and be robbing me, and been firm with that. But she said, okay. And then he brought in another, and she said, okay. And then he brought in another, and she said, okay. And then he brought in another, and she said, okay. And that means, to me, what I see from that is that she has a heart of help. And so I think that's where her blessings come from. That's why she's able to expand and open businesses. She had 2 or 3 that she opened before Tim went off and opened 6, 7, and 8. But it's from that. And I think what happens is, if we lose sight of the gift of help, that anointing to help, then those other businesses will fail. Or if they don't fail, you might be successful, but you're being successful for the wrong reason. And you'll lose purpose then. And I think that's what she's seeing when all these businesses are open. Entertainment over here, we dancing over there. We got a boxcar over here, and over here we opening one up over here. It's going to be a Chinese restaurant, sweetie pie. And over there, you're going to go over there, you're going to get the Nigerian sweetie pie. How are we helping?
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? We got goat meat over here. There's the Caribbean sweetie pie. How are we helping? How are we helping? Because the restaurant that they're opening, that Tim introduced us to, he showed us that restaurant that he's doing, the real big one, where they're going to have the outdoor eating, where they can do brunch and they can have live bands and stages. Okay, but where's the help? Where's the help? Where's the meaning behind it? Because the other restaurants are attached to helping the community, helping people who come out of jail and giving them jobs. You can see the help. You can see how the neighborhood is flourishing because of those businesses. So how is that helping this? Are they helping you in your image and your brand and your grand idea? Anyway, but I don't want to see these two fall out. I hope that, matter of fact, I know that God will bring that to an expected end. I'm sure that they will work it out. And I just want everybody to be able to hold on to their money and their businesses and their dreams, and most of all, their relationship. I don't want to see that change. I don't want to see that play out in the media in a nasty way. You know what I mean? I think Miss Robbie, although she looks well and she's getting around well and she's smart and she's sharp, she doesn't need that at this point in her life to be dragged through any mud. And I don't think I'm going to have enough faith in him to say this. I don't think he's going to drag his mother through the mud. I don't think he's going to make her have to fight at all. I think this is going to work out. I think by next season, all of this will be worked out. Whoever is in the background, though, trying to pull a string or toss a dollar amount between these two, I hope that it catches on fire. Your dollar.
Absolutely.
I hope it burns up in midair and it burns the tips of your fingers so that you'll never try to get between a mother and a son and the plan of God again. Yeah, that's what I hope. Listen, let's talk about, you mentioned earlier, guy number 2, that Tim Norman is dating Jennifer Williams from Basketball Wives. Yeah. So let's talk about Jennifer Williams and the way she came into the mix.
Well, she came into the mix very well. The beautiful Jennifer Williams from Basketball Wives. I mean, I literally, when she came onto the scene, I was like, wow, didn't expect to see you here. And why are you here? Because what in the world are you doing on this show? You know, you took your show by storm, but now you've migrated over to Sweetie Pie. Okay. But, when I saw that she was actually, romantically interested in Tim, my jaw dropped a little bit, I'm not going to lie. Because I was like, you going out with him? Okay, well, what's going on? Do you know something we don't know? So maybe so. But Jennifer is there to do business, and we know how Jennifer operates. You know, she's very straightforward. She's on her game. You know, and she came to play. You know, Giuseppe's in hand, and she's ready to rock. But we see that she's getting ready to do her clothing line, I believe, and Tim is going to be helping her with that venture. So I think that that's going to be something that's going to, you know, reveal itself later on in the season, and we're going to see how that develops. But, you know, I think she's a great piece of eye candy that's been added to the show. So I'm a little excited every time I'm like, oh, she's coming on. So I'm enjoying it. You know, Jennifer's my girl. Love her. I love her.
Well, look, she's Tim's girl, she's your girl, and she's my girl, too. Okay? She's my girl. I love Jennifer Williams. I love her. Upon first being introduced to her on Basketball Wives, and it was just really great. Even when she was friends with Evelyn, I just always loved Jennifer. And I think Jennifer kind of leaped out without acting out. You know what I mean? Like she was on the show. Everybody was acting out, and she did not act out. She didn't have to. She was like, I'm here. See me? Now, what could happen is that Danielle, who Tim wants to help Jennifer with some of her online business promotions and stuff like that, she could take a note from Jennifer's book. You can be here without, you know, wanting people to see you and proclaim to be all of these things that you aren't. Jennifer is together. Legs forever. Forever. You hear me? And came on and just slid on in light as a feather. She, you know, you don't have to come into a situation knocking the china over. You don't have to do that. We see you. We see you. And she came in light as a feather, beautiful, graceful, classy, long legs forever. I have to say that again, long legs forever. Okay. And it's a good look. I was so shocked to see her show up on this show. I didn't know what was going on. It was a shock, and it was a good shock. It's like, hit me again.
Right.
Hit me with 1,000 volts again. It was a good shock seeing Jennifer. And I like the way that they interact. I like the fact that they talk. It seems that they really talk. They don't talk at each other. For now, they're very engaged. You know, when Tim speaks to her, he blushes. When she speaks to him, it's with a calm, peaceful kind of, you know, response and so forth. So I just love that. I love seeing her. Now, look, he could not have done any better if you were going to leave that beautiful Janae. You know, if that situation was going to come to an end.
Right.
And you were going to, you know, come back with somebody else. You couldn't have done better than Jennifer Williams. Now, you know, for a long time, everybody thought that Danielle was somebody that he was dating. You know, it was. You know, we thought that you know, is he dating Danielle? You know, what's she doing here? And I think that really was because we didn't really see purpose in Danielle. And don't worry, Danielle. And don't worry, Danielle. Everybody has a purpose. You just have to find yours. And it's not just doing social media. It really isn't. I think the reason why she just this bum rapping, why we see her this way, is because she didn't come with an authentic purpose to help. This is a place of help. You didn't come in to help. You came in for advancement. And so we don't see where you fit in, darling. Start helping, and then things will open up. But Jennifer, you know, is there. It's good to see her. We know she has her own. She comes from a wealthy family. Grandparents are loaded. Okay. Loaded. Baked potato loaded. Like sour cream, chives, onions, bacon, you know, blue cheese, and all kind of stuff. So I love that. Love seeing her on there. And one of the things that was funny, though, was the conversation that she and Tim had with Danielle. And, you know, Tim was explaining to Danielle that he was going to be utilizing her services in his office now that he's set up in LA, and that Jennifer was one of his new clients for helping to build brands, and he was going to be doing that with her, and that she is also his woman. Well, the look on Danielle's face was priceless. What did you think about the look on her face, guy number 2?
The look on her face was a new MasterCard commercial. It was priceless. It literally was. I mean, you know, she looked like, you know, she met the ice cream man in the middle of the desert. Like, what are you doing here? It was funny. It was very funny. But what I really liked about it was a smack of reality in her face. You know, it kind of popped that little delusional bubble that she had above her head that literally had the words, "What are you doing here?" right above her head. Because Tim just kind of reached up and was like, "Pop." She's here because she's my girlfriend. It's just, you know, oh, well, that's nice. Yeah, right. You know, you were shocked.
Well, she made a comment. Well, I hope Jennifer, now she's smiling at Jennifer because it was clear to me that she knew exactly who Jennifer was when she walked in that office and saw her.
And she did.
She knew. You could see it in her eyes. Ooh, this is Jennifer. Here's an opportunity. And so when she sat down and she realized that Tim wanted her to work with Jennifer, the bells started ringing, you know, the cash bells, ching, 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 ching. And then she thought, you could see it. You could see it happening. It was so transparent. If I get to hang out with her, she'll put me in front of some folk. Now, I don't know. I just don't go through life with that attitude and just, you know, going around trying to, you know, use people to further myself in anything that I do. I think that we network and we barter, and there's many ways to reach your goals and do it with the help of people without trying to, you know, hide up under their coattail, wrap yourself in it, and get dragged off into the sunset. You know, and I think she had made a comment, and she said, well, I hope Jennifer doesn't think I'm going to be her assistant. I'm not even Tim's anymore. And it was just nasty. Now, this is one person that she doesn't want to get nasty with is that Jennifer Williams.
Oh, no. Oh, no. You talk about living out some regret? Yeah. You could look like you're going to bring out one cat claw against Jennifer. Well, good luck, because you're going to be drawing back a nub. She's not the one to tangle with, you know. Jennifer, this is not Jennifer's first time at the rodeo, and we know that she will take you down. So, Danielle, if you want to keep all that long, pretty hair and don't see it at somebody's, you know, beauty shop or at somebody's hair salon, you might want to sit down and kind of take a couple of notes from her and just be her quote-unquote assistant if that's what you need to do in order to get where you need to go. But do not
to learn.
Learn.
And to learn.
Take the opportunity to learn something.
Yes.
Learn something.
And sometimes, you know, have a little faith in people that if you were Jennifer's assistant, even beyond the show, if she wasn't decided that her and Tim wasn't going to work out and she still decided to keep you on and Tim was okay with that, you know, learn from her. And sometimes you have to trust that being around people and being good to people, you know, and having a heart to learn and help, it opens up the heart space for someone to say, you know what, you're a good person. Let me introduce you to so-and-so. Or while they're out, maybe they're talking to someone and says, you know what, my assistant is really great. Maybe she can help you with, boom, and then that's your next, you know, your next big step that you take in your career and in life. So you just have to have trust and faith in people. And I hope that Danielle gets this, because if you tangle with that Jennifer, they will be selling your hair up on LA hair. Now look, because you know Jennifer Williams is nice and sweet and poised, but she will turn into the White Witch quick. You know the White Witch from the Chronicle of Narnia? That thing will come riding. That thing will come riding on a polar bear. Don't do it. You better.
Rope-a-dope style. Okay.
You better not do it. I'm telling you. Because listen, you know, everybody thought that Jennifer was a pushover because on Basketball Wives, she wasn't the one yelling and screaming and cussing and calling people names and carrying on. And it was just really interesting to see how Evelyn Lozada turned on her and, you know, jumped on the table in the restaurant with her friends and tried to hit her with the purse and all kind of stuff. And, you know, because we don't see people act out and, you know, jump back over the table and I'm going to get her and I'm going to get, you ain't going to do this, B. Some people took that as weakness. Jennifer took it as, okay, I said what I said. It wasn't meant to hurt you. It was the truth. And I'm going to walk away from it. I'm going to let this thing play out. And guess what she did? She walked away from it. It played out. What was that basketball player's name that was with Evelyn Lozada? What was his name, guy number 2?
You talking about Chad Ochocinco?
Yeah. Ochocinco. He cheated on Evelyn Lozada, and they got into that big brawl at the car, and he had butted her and busted her head and all kind of thing. But here's the irony about it, right? So she leaped over a table to hit Jennifer in the head with a purse. Okay. And then he ended up hitting her in the head with his forehead and busted her head. How ironic. Anyway, I'm getting off subject here because I just want you guys to know I love Jennifer Williams. I think she's a great addition to the show. I can't wait to see what else she brings to the show. So, Jennifer, if you're listening, we love you, Mama. Yeah, we love you. Okay, look, let's talk very quickly before we close out about some other people that are on the show who I think are just really funny and a great addition to the cast as well. And that would be Miss Robbie's sisters.
They are hilarious.
Miss Robbie's sisters. Okay, look.
They're
so
hilarious.
there's Jan, and that's Charles's mom. She wears the gray hair. She has gray hair and it's braided. Mm-hmm. And then there's Linda, and that is Monique's mom. So, Guy, to just weigh in on Jan and Linda.
They are both spicy, they're funky, they're feisty, and they're balls of energy. But they have a great work ethic, and they love working with their sister and for their sister. You can see that they absolutely trust her, and that's a big thing, especially in the family business. You have to be able to trust the people that you're working with. And I know that, Robbie not only appreciates and trusts them, they each also appreciate and trust her. So I love the solidarity that they display. It's a true sisterhood, and it gives you like this great camaraderie, and you just love seeing them all on TV together. I mean, when I'm watching the three of them on screen and they're talking, they're having these conversations, and Robbie, especially now, so she's ventured into this lawsuit with Tim, it's hard for them. You can see that there's emotion involved, and they honestly want to stay out of it. They honestly do. But you can tell that it's paining them a little bit. But them as sisters, great camaraderie, great relationship. As businesswomen, you see that they're managing each of the restaurants. They're holding the business down as Robbie travels and does for other various business ventures. I think it's great. And I love seeing them on TV.
I love it, too, because it becomes a point of reference for those people who are watching now and those people who will be able to see this show in reruns in the future, young people who will know undoubtedly that you can create something for your family, with your family, and have it be successful. Everyone doesn't have to be against you and fighting you and, tearing you down. And Miss Robbie and her family is proof of this. That's why I said I know that, Tim is not going to have his mother put on boxing gloves with this whole thing. This thing is going to play out. It'll play out quickly. It's necessary. It's going to play out really well, but really quickly, and all will be fine. I think this is as much for those people who are flying around, hovering, those evil birds, you know what I'm talking about? Those vultures who are looking to get their hand on her and her product and her business and her, the gift that she has created and offered unto the world. They're looking to get their hands on it, and they're circling. So this is as much for them as it is for straightening the situation out with Tim and getting back on course. Because, see, when someone is made aware that this is what I'll even do to my family, what you think I'll do to you? I'm going to slam my son with $100 million lawsuit. What do you think I'll do to you? And I'm going easy on him. And as she said tonight, she said, look, I put up with it a long while because he was my son. If it was anybody else, I'd have been got him, is what she said. Charles referred to Ms. Robbie as hard-headed. I don't know that she's hard-headed. I think she's firm and she's focused and she has her way. Now, you don't usually listen, because the good advice can come from any place, but you don't usually follow the advice of people who haven't done anything, don't know anything, haven't accomplished anything. Okay? So if you haven't opened a business, you can't tell me anything about a business. I can tell you. If you don't have 4 businesses, but you have one, can't really tell me anything about managing 4 businesses when you only have one. You understand what I'm saying? So advice
Absolutely.
can come from anywhere, but, she can't jump on every word that Charles says and Jan says and Linda says and Michelle says and Ike says and Monique says. She can't do that. She'd be all over the place. It would be scrambled eggs, sweetie pie, scrambled eggs, and that's all we're serving. So, okay, and so I'm glad that, we don't see that. I bet that Miss Jan and Miss Linda and Miss Robbie were something to reckon with in their 20s.
Oh, absolutely.
I could see them things squirting around St. Louis. I could see it. And I think that they're all tough. You can see that they're all tough.
Yeah, they're very tough. They're tough. They're still Magnolias.
Yeah. I was about to say them still Magnolias. Ain't they still Magnolias?
They are still Magnolias.
Yeah. But don't sleep on Jan, because I think Jan is one of those sisters that will cry and then beat you up. Like you'll pop your she won't say anything and then she'll start crying. Then and then she'll beat you up. And then Linda looks like to me like she just ain't having it from the gate.
Nope.
She just ain't having it from the gate. She's going to argue with you while she's braiding her hair. Then she's about to box you loose. But see, Miss Robbie is like, I'm coming out the house with the shotgun. I'm going to shoot you, your mama, your daddy. Is that your boyfriend? Call him and shoot the wheels off of that. They are funny to me. I love them. I like seeing them. But I just love to see that many generations of the family, that many extensions of the family. Although they look and they say they have a small family dynamic right now, but when I look at them, I see a big family. I do. I see a big family, and I love that they have big personalities, but they're well controlled. When Jan comes on, we listen to Jan. When Linda comes on, we listen to Linda. I don't turn away. Oh, she ain't got nothing to say. You know what I mean? So their personalities, they have big personalities on the screen, but it's well controlled. I love that. Let's talk very quickly about someone I would like to see more of. We haven't seen him at all this season, and I don't know why. So Sweetie Pie's casting, Sweetie Pie's producers, who's ever filming, cameraman, camera 2, camera 3, Tim, Miss Robbie, whoever. Where's Calvin? Why is Calvin not?
Yeah, where is Calvin?
The pastor. They call him preacher.
Yeah, where is he? We haven't seen him.
I don't know why we haven't seen him. I don't know if he's on vacation or what's going on there, if he's still with the restaurant, but we loved seeing Calvin. Calvin was another one who was just a bright spot, always smiling. He had a glow around him. I kind of knew he was in ministry without even reading about him, because he just had a glow around him. When you saw him on screen, his face was always lit up. He was well manicured, and he always had a lot of interesting, funny things to say, but yet he always referenced God in Scripture.
Always.
Yeah, I love that. So, guy number 2, did you want to see Calvin as well?
No, I definitely want to see him come back. Yeah, he's been missed. He's a definite bright shot on the show, and we need that bright spot back. So whoever needs to move heaven and earth to bring him back on the show, let's do it.
Yes. If this is possible, I don't mind sharing ideas. I'm just going to throw it out here to you producers if you're listening, you guys. And anyone that's listening to the after show, this special edition of the after show, we're talking about Sweetie Pies. If you agree, please make sure that you retweet this. If you repost it, go to YouTube and like it and post your comments about it as well. I would love to see a spin-off show. And so, Tim, this is for you. This is where you can make some more money, Tim, without digging into your mom's purse. Okay? I would love to see a spin-off show. Tim, Bruce, and Calvin take L.A. Yeah.
Wow.
Hot.
That would be great. That would be great.
3 straight, black, masculine men, okay, who basically were in prison, right? At some point in their life, came out, reformed, turned their lives around, literally are doing great for themselves. Now they take LA. I have to see it because LA is so eccentric and weird and plastic sometimes, most times, and just all of these other things, a lot of pretentiousness. And these guys are real. You know what I mean? They're very real. So I'd love to see Tim, Bruce, and Calvin and all of the zany antics they could get into in LA.
It'd be a great thing. I'd love to see that. It'd be a great show.
Oh, my gosh. It would be really, 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 really a great show. So anyway, guys, you producers over at OWN, you think about that. Oprah, think about it. Put your Midas touch on it. I don't want anything. I just want to see it. Okay? So, look, guys, I thank you all for joining us on this special edition of the After Show. You guys, thanks for tuning into the After Show. We will be back with more special shows like this, myself and guy number 2. We have a lot to talk about, a lot of different shows. And, of course, we'll be returning with guy number 3 and Trinity for her female perspectives on some other shows. All right, so make sure you guys tune in. Guy number 2, I want to thank you for tonight, your opinion and your discussion.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, you guys, catch us on the next episode of The After Show.